Thank you. Welcome to the Return to Nature Masterclass. I'm grateful y'all are here, and let's just take a moment and get present to this space, taking a deep breath in, letting it all go, taking another deep breath in, letting it all go, and just inviting the Holy Spirit to be here in this presence. Being in the presence of peace, love, and joy, and an open heart, and ears to listen and to receive what's meant to receive. So thank you, Holy Spirit, and thank you, Jesus. Amen. So I think the homework for last week was, does anyone know what the homework was for last week? I believe it was, yes, it was about, thank you. It was about observing our inner child at play in the garden. And so I will go first. And for me, I had an experience 2 days ago where I was playing in the garden and I got a little bit upset. I got triggered. And I left my child and I went back to that five-year-old little boy that wasn't so happy anymore, and he was angry and so I got to revisit who that was. I got to go back in time and feel those feelings fully and forgive myself for just forgetting that I was a child of God. And so I got invited. I'm just going to share this story because it's coming through and I feel like it's relevant. So I got invited to go back and welcome Rose. Thank you for being here. I got invited to visit my little child and go back and hold him as a little baby and experience those moments and those times where I may not have been experiencing peace, love, and joy all that time. And so yesterday I took like 2 hours and I was just on the hammock at one of the houses here in the village and just looking out at, just literally meditating and just being. And so I started revisiting these moments, and what I recognize is that there's 30 years of those moments, and I'm like, well, God, how am I gonna, I only like have the present of the present, and how am I gonna bring all those moments up to love myself and to forgive myself? And then it just hit me that like God just said, well, that's why Jesus is here. And it was just this moment of gratitude that like that's why Christ died for us and the grace that he gave us. So that's my story of how my child showed up and a moment that I've had over this past couple of days. And who else would like to share on what their day's been like and where are you at in the moment? And actually, let's just stick with the homework. How did you experience your little child this week? Yes, Neal. Thank you.
So I'm experiencing it right now. I just found a piece of purslane laying on the ground. I'm genuinely curious of how it got there, but I also know that if I were to plug this in the earth, it would grow an entire new plant. Um, God willing. And yeah, so my inner child's out right now. How it's been out this past week, it's been in varying degrees. Like it showed up in communication. It showed up in like mulching. Like anytime I'm interacting with nature or being in nature, like when I was a child and I had nothing to do, I would go to nature. And I always have something to do in nature. It's like, well, what do you do in nature? It's like, well, number one, I observe. And then number two, I'm like, well, what if I did this? What would happen? And then I do that, and then I would see what would happen. So like being in nature, my inner child's out like automatically. Um, and so I say automatically, but there's also when I choose to focus on what's wrong, then yes, I'm automatically in my inner child. But if I focus on what's wrong, then that takes me from the inner child to like some other experience. It might have been like something from the past or whatever the thing. But if I'm present, then that's when I experience it's inevitable that the inner child comes out when I have a degree of presence. So that's my share, and I think that's complete for now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So something that I actually passed over this, and thank you for reminding me, Neal, because I feel like I didn't share the whole story of why I wasn't in peace, love, and joy. And you touched on this, started looking at what was missing and what was wrong, and not what was actually. The reason that I left my inner child is because I started looking at the problems, and I didn't see the perfection in things. And so I started looking at what was missing. And that in turn took me back to when I was a child. And um, when I was a child, I was the oldest in the family. And so I had a lot of responsibilities that we had like over 100 goats at one point. And now I'm here in this community and there's also responsibility and there's also a community. So it's like there's all this support. And what I saw when I started seeing what was missing, it I left my inner child. So I just wanted to share that. And who would like to go next? Yes, Sage. You want to go by Sage or Sarah Jean? Okay.
I have lots of names and a lot of people call me different ones. I don't care what you call me. um, so I've had lots of I've had lots of experiences with my inner child. The most like what's aware right now is that staying in your inner child, even when someone else is in a hijack or in certain emotions, it actually returns them into that state. And I used to be very conditional. It's like, I'm not safe if you're acting this way, or I don't want to be around you. And I want to actually remove myself from this. And this week I've experienced actually leaning into that and still allowing my inner child to be completely open to however anyone's being. And quickly they've returned back, or even they didn't, and it was perfectly fine from this area. I was wowed. I was like, I want to keep doing that. So the more that I'm actually in my inner child, it's really playful and inviting, and it allows other people to magnetize themselves towards that if they so choose. So that was a really beautiful thing. I also liked reading the word inside of the greenhouse. That was really magical. Also being in gratitude, it lets my inner child come out all the time. I feel like it's ramped up like a lot these days, and I'm going to keep doing that because it's just like an attitude of gratitude is like the ticket to everything. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's beautiful. Go ahead, Peter. And also, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the class, but if you're on the Zoom link, just there's a little icon on the bottom of your screen. You can click that and raise your hand, or just raise your hand and we'll call on you. So, what did you say? And welcome, Robert and Annette. Thanks for being here. And Mervin, I just saw you leave the screen, but welcome.
Hey, Annette, it's amazing to see you again. Yeah, so because that was the homework that you have given to us last week, I have been really sitting with it and kind of tapping into into what was the feeling that I had when I was a child. When was the last time when I was truly feeling happy and loved before my heart closed, before my environment hurt me, and before I lost the little child in me. So there are glimpses of this happiness of me being, and I would sit and try to find out what is like a thing that connects those moments where I was truly feeling happy. Was it a specific place, or was it a specific circumstance, or how was it? And I was finding out that it was somehow inexplicably in the space. It was in those moments where I would, for example, wake up on a beautiful Sunday morning and I would just lie in my bed and I was listening to the sounds outside, and there was wind blowing through the leaves of the trees, and that wind blowing or not blowing, just this subtle, gentle wind kind of touching my skin, and just observing or just kind of knowing that the wind is there happening was somehow always connected to that feeling of being happy, being free as a child. For some reason, then when I closed my eyes, I stopped feeling that wind. I stopped paying any attention to it, as if it stopped existing. And now I'm remembering those feelings, and whenever this gentle wind comes and touches me, or whenever I want to just, there are moments still where I get into being triggered and being just unrationally emotional about something, and those are the moments that I remember. Listen to the wind, feel the wind. How is it now? Is it here? Is it touching your skin, or can you hear it outside? Can you see it on the trees, how it plays with the leaves? And whenever I notice the wind, I know I'm good. I know I'm home. I know I'm back to that little child, and all those beautiful feelings of happiness and freedom come back.
Wow. Thank you. That's really beautiful. So do you feel like that's a recipe? Like if you feel that your heart's like, if you find yourself, and this may not be for you, I'm asking for myself here. Like if you find your heart closing or being walled off, like, do you find that as a recipe to like paying attention to the wind? Is that like a recipe for you to keep your heart open and to open it again?
Great question. Exactly. It has become a kind of a tool that whenever I catch myself in this disbalance, disharmony, I just remember. It's like a remembrance of where is the wind? Am I really being left alone in this misery, or is there still this my wind brother, father, my wind father, this love blowing through everywhere? Is it still here to support me? Is it still here to communicate the love to me? It's like saying, yes, I am here. I am here. Just look wherever you look. Every single tree is telling you that I, the Father, I am here. I am here, and I am your freedom. I am your love. You are loved right now. Wherever I am, you are too. You cannot escape me. You cannot escape love. You can forget for a moment, but just open your eyes and your ears and listen. I'm still here. I'm still here with you.
Wow, that is really beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Welcome, Ja Love. Great to have you here. So the homework, if you weren't here last week, the homework was to just be aware of how our child is in the garden. And if you're up north, it may be just in nature, maybe playing in the snow, making snow angels, whatever. So is there someone who on the screen would love to share what their experience has been over the past 7 days, or it could be today? I see you going for it, Dave. Go for it.
There we go. Today, interesting. You mentioned the north. Yes, I live in the north, and yes, actually no snow, but it's cold. And we have a dome greenhouse, and so I went in the dome and did some prep. Actually, I have this grow bed on the inside, and so I have this PVC piping tubing that I make a frame, and then have a sheet of plastic goes over the top. So actually, that was my winter prep, was to cover the inside of this grow bed with this dome of plastic, so that my tender green plants can survive the winter. So they kind of go into a dormant stage. But it was that sort of playing in winter prep in the garden, and just talking to the plants and telling them that they were going to be okay, they're not going to freeze, and just making adjustments, getting ready for the onslaught. Today's the solstice, so just thinking about the transition from the low light to the spinning towards the increasing light now. That's very exciting because it's very dark. It's dark already, and being solstice, just doing the winter prep stuff for the greenhouse and the garden so that it can make it through. We'll have some output like in February. So by keeping just the place protected from the cold, we'll have some greens available like around February to consume. So that's what I was doing today.
Amazing. Thank you. And who else would like to share? Alrighty. So I didn't come with much to this class. And what is something that is there something that you're going through, and this is a place to be vulnerable to, like, this is a safe place. There won't be any judgment here, but is there anything that anyone's going through that they would love to share? And this could be anything, whether it's a joyful or not so joyful or painful thing that you're experiencing, or literally anything. Is there anything that anyone would love to share? Actually, let's just do a check-in. Let's just see where everyone's at. Now that we've let our little child that we've merged with our inner child, let's just see where we are. And I'll go first. It's been an interesting 24 hours, and I find myself being in a space of like coming back to the present of the present, and I find myself, my ego, trying to create stories and live in stories. And so in the past 24 hours, it's been this. This morning I went down to the river, and I really felt called yesterday to go, and I didn't make it. So I went down and I found this new pathway to go hiking on, the new waterfalls, a new river that's very, very beautiful. That's only like 5 minutes away. And I went down there, and just, it really got me present to the present rather than living in stories and allowing my ego to make shit up, and to stay in love. So that's where I'm at. Who else would love to share? Yes, Sage.
So I have a lot going on. I woke up this morning and I was in a place of being done and surrender. And I got on my knees and I made a covenant with God and just said, whatever comes my way, Lord, I know that it's divinely guided for my path, and I put all my faith and all my trust in you. And today's been a very interesting day. I got up and I was like, I had so much energy, I decided to work out in my room. And then I was like, okay, I got to go and feed the chickens. And so I went and fed the chickens, and I gave them so much love. And then I went back and I did a meditation, and oh no, I ended up cooking and breakfast for everyone, and then worked out again in the gym. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to go do a meditation. And then I did a meditation, and there was just this space of emptiness, like almost like the void, and like also an overflowing that was happening at the same time. I don't know how to describe this feeling, but it was like I was being poured into as I was being emptied. And I was faced with a very, very difficult situation today. I had a meeting with the Department of Child Protective Services for my children. And it was very, very difficult for me to hear what was going on. But there was this space that was cultivated from this morning of peace and love and trust and faith, and whatever's supposed to happen is supposed to happen. And like giving it to God. Like, this is the first time that I've ever like not been like so embodied with anxiety or stress or the ego trying to make all these fucking things up about myself or the situation, or like being a bad mom or whatever the fuck that it wanted to try to do, that did not happen today. because I was witnessing it. I just let it pass me by, like, oh, there's a thought. And it wasn't inside of me. It was magical what happened with that. So I'm so grateful for this work and being at the source of these distinctions, and to return to my true nature, which is peace, love, and joy, even though there's a fucking hot mess going on, and I'm just wowed. Um, I'm wowed at this work. I'm wowed at God. I'm wowed at salvation and what it can do for you when you choose yourself and you choose self-love and you choose to win in life. It's very impactful, and I'm going to continue doing that. That's my path. So thank you for the check-in.
Amazing. Thank you. Yes, Dave.
Okay, yeah. So it's the solstice, and as a reminder, we went for a walk. We have a little woods nearby, and we often walk the dog there. But because it's been funky, we had a lot of rain recently. Haven't been able to go to this little woods walk. But today, because of beautiful day, sun was shining beautifully, although cold. So we took a walk in this little woods walk, and there's a pond. And, it was a reminder, being the solstice, that the rhythms, we should remind ourselves that we are part of that rhythm. And we get, as in modern society, we get caught up in the day to day, and one day is the same as the next. Work, 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 and pay the bills and all that kind of stuff. But we forget about the rhythm of the seasons and of nature, and that rhythm is tied to God as well, even in our own seasons that we have in life, the whole long journey, but also in the yearly journey. So coming to the solstice here, the shortest daylight of the year, but also seeing the beauty of the crisp air, the sunshine, letting my dog just run free, and we were just reminded of the fact that we are here as creators and not consumers. We're coming into Christmas, and it's such a consumer-oriented so-called holiday, and I find myself just kind of disgusted by it all. As we approach the Christmas time, it's just such a consumer thing, and but I'm reminded, also with that work I talked about earlier in the greenhouse, that we are creators, that we are always putting in and getting back from love, when what God provides. But we got to be present, as you said earlier, present to the present. So just that simple walk, being present, noticing the rhythm, coming to the bottom of the light cycle, and then the joy that we have, which is the return of the light. And that's today, the return of the light, return of our souls back into love. And really the true Christmas gift is love. And that's really what I want to remind myself, of course, and y'all too as well, is that love is present for us, not just for Christmas, but it is a reminder with this holiday not to get caught up in all the consumer bullshit, but to really remember why we celebrate this holiday, because of that gift of love, which is the Christ, given by God to us. And it's not just one time of the year, it's every day. And also it has an ebb and flow with those seasons. So that's just been my reflection today here on the solstice. So I thought I'd share that with you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. Yes.
So I enjoyed your question, which was very specific. What in the past 24 hours happened, and how well, I don't even remember how the question was, but where it led me is to reflect upon how I'm currently feeling a few days before the Christmas Eve, the Christmas celebrations. How was it feeling currently, the past 24 hours, compared to how was it feeling maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? And it's very interesting for me to see that there was a pattern for my entire life. And that pattern was to slow down, to feel peaceful. And whenever Christmas was approaching, yay, there was an opportunity for me to slow down, stop working. But that also was reminding me that January 1st or January 4th, the work will begin again. And there you go, an entire year full of meetings, full of activity, people talking, action, activity happening. And when I was in that space, it was super tiring for me. I could not explain it, but there was it had a feeling of being drained and frustrated because I really just wanted to relax. And I would catch myself so many times skipping meetings and then I kind of escaped myself to my solitude, and I've set up my life very successfully in a way where I've hired employees so that I don't need to go to the meetings, but they did. I didn't have to do all the work, they did. And I got to a point that seemingly was very peaceful. I was just sitting in my hammock. There was really nothing to do. But I did not feel fulfilled. And now I was reflecting upon these two stages over here at the village, 24 hours. Those 24 hours, in a way, were very similar to that old business life. There is constantly activity going on. There's constantly people speaking, constantly noises going on, meeting after meeting. There is not a single minute to take a break. But the one thing I noticed, I don't need a break. The more the more meetings there is, the more activity there is, the more recharging and rejuvenated I feel. It's like the activity, when approached from the perspective of love, is just an entirely different experience. So that was the reflection for me, looking at these 24 hours, seeing that I didn't even get much sleep. Actually, I got up a few times, and I was actually hanging by the swimming pool in the middle of the midnight, looking at the stars, enjoying the. I probably slept for 2 hours, but I feel so recharged, so energized, so young, peaceful, happy. Yeah, there is happiness, there's joy, there's peace. So that was my reflection, how it really needed that. I needed that entire life to understand how to be in activity and yet be in peace and feel the constantly rejuvenating love at the same time.
Wow, thank you. And who else would like to share? Yes, Neil. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've been doing a lot, and it feels really great. What I feel it in my physical body, that I've been doing a lot. Mentally and emotionally and spiritually, I feel like hyped up with inspiration to the point of um, using my physical body to a point that it's not meant to go. Like it's the thing with maintaining inspiration. So like Perla has tons of inspiration, and there's times when she'll express it and then like not have any inspiration and just be like laying under the table, just like sweating. Um and what I noticed for Neal is that like I've been expressing my inspiration to the point like I've been doing more than my best. And um how that shows up is like just needing to take time to rest physically, because I haven't been doing that. And I don't even care to entertain that much. Like um so I've been doing a lot, and then in that doing it hasn't been frugal. Like mountains have been moved, literally, like mountains of mulch, plants going from one location to another. So much has been accomplished, but what I'm observing is that there's a need to rest physically and mentally. And what this I think allows for is for using that rest to uh like I don't even know if it's like it's not cultivating inspiration, but it's during the rest where I'm just like being, and then uh when I get out of that being, it's like the inspiration's like tripled. Um okay, so I'm feeling inspiration, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing, and now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna meditate for a day. So I sit and I rest and I recharge and I go to bed early and I wake up late. I've got plenty of rest and I'm rested and I've meditated. And now I've got like 3 times the amount of inspiration I had yesterday. And I was actually doing like more than my best, but now that's tripled. And so what I'm speaking to is like Neal taking time for Neal. And I've even had it show up today in how I've been interacting with how I'm being physically in a space. And I've been laying a lot today. I was been laying on the ground during Michaela's the artist masterclass, and I've been laying during your masterclass, and it's me resting physically, and like even right now, like I feel a degree of inspiration that like move because I'm going type of energy, or just let's go. And yeah, so I'm in the balancing process of maintaining inspiration, and it's like this showed up last week, this concept of maintaining inspiration. It just kept showing up into my reality. Like first it was in a podcast, then it was through Sonia, and then our visionary distinction was inspiration. Um so like this maintaining inspiration has been continually coming up, and I thought I got the lesson, or I thought I got what I needed to get, but now it's here again, present. I'm still with it, and I'm still seeing and finding and discovering that balance where I can be inspired and interact with life and have the highs be like still as high, but now the troughs don't go as low anymore. And until the point where I spoke to in the podcast that we filmed yesterday, where your frequency, your vibrations, like it starts out like in like these theta waves where there's a lot of movement, But then as we maintain our inspiration, we start to move to a gamma ray where it's a really high frequency, and the highs are just as highs, but the troughs, they're barely noticeable. Like it's just this gamma love frequency. That's where I'm headed. Where I'm at now is in the balancing process.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I feel your inspiration. Who else would like to check in with where they're at? And actually, it's at 5:13. What is there anything coming up that anyone would love to share related to their day and nature and those two, from those two spaces? Yes, Neal.
Since I'm having so much fun communicating, I'll continue. And earlier today, I was mulching, and before I mulched, I was pulling weeds from where I was placing mulch. And during that process, I cleared out a lot of the bed, and I placed mulch, and it was like looking like pretty nice. And there was these I think they're galanga because they're still green, so they stay green year round. So there was this galanga grove, and it had like some weeds interwoven through it. And how I'd been going about weeding the rest of the beds was like seeing the weeds and pulling it. And I actually pulled up a couple garlics because I was moving. And so I get to this galanga, and with the same kind of inspired passion, I just went into this galanga and weeded it, and fucking wham, something nailed my hand. And like I pulled out of it, and it was these large like black ants were just like all over in this galanga. And I didn't know that's was what actually got me. And I just went on and doing like mulching, and avoided that area for the next half hour, 45 minutes. And I noticed like my hand started swelling up. So I was like, wow, I wonder if that was like a scorpion or something. Like I actually didn't see what the thing was, or like this has never happened before. So I just, yeah, so that happened. And I went in, I could have gone into like, oh shit, like I literally started checking in mentally. Do I feel like psychologically affected? Like, am I feeling something different than what I was feeling before this happened? And I was like, yes, I do. Like, oh shit. And then it was like this thing, okay, do I focus on that, or do I trust that whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen, is meant to happen? And I chose to focus on the perfection. And like, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. And if I'm going to live, I'm going to live. And so I focused on the perfection, and then I gave whatever result God had intended. I just gave it to God. And my hand's great. I don't know if you can see it, but it was literally like standing up like an inch. Not anymore. So God said live. So I still have an inspired purpose here. And I believe part of that purpose is sharing this in an inspired and fun way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I love that. Anyone else? Just checking in, like related to nature and the past 24 hours, like, is there anything that you feel inspired to share? Yes, Noel.
Well, there wasn't too much nature this week, I have to say, and I'm envious because I love to go down to that river, and I haven't done it in the last couple weeks. But the inner child thing sort of came afterwards. So I'll just address that briefly. It's just simply the thing that's going on that's feeling good is I've been in since I've been in this village attempting to dance with my ego in a saner way, because it's just been so uh just challenging to be me with the type of ego situation that I've been in, and lately it feels like a fun and playful thing to just laugh at the thing, and it's constantly. And I remember one little interaction with you on, I think it was Christmas. Yes, it was Christmas, that party. We had a Christmas party here that was very fun. And it was like, "You're heroing, Noel." I was like, "Yeah, so what? Fuck you." You went, "Good for you." And that's the thing. It's just like, own the parts that I have been, if somebody calls me on something, I would get so defensive and hurt. And getting to that point, which somehow feels like what a child would do. It's just a much more uh innocent and free way of expressing. So that is one piece of it. And I guess with the check-in, I'm really hopeful to claim this healing that I received. We have a young man visiting the young in relation to my age, the village right now, who Jonathan just sort of met on a fluke. His name is Raphael, and he is was a homeless atheist, and then he also, just through the absolute dregs of his life, sort of started a relationship with God, and he's in a church where literal like healings of a magnitude like that are unbelievable, like people bringing people back from the dead. It's very hard to just big ticket stuff. And this guy is completely credible. There's nothing, phony about him. He's just telling the experiences that he's having. And today I asked for his help because I have a friend who I was heroing way back when, and her life is utter trash now, in her own opinion. And I feel somewhat like I helped. So, and I just got the idea in meditation today that I could ask Raphael to pray with and for her. And we did that on a Zoom today. But he also found out that my ears are not functioning very well, so he did some little healing with my ears. And I felt something when he had his hands on my ears. I felt like this, like, movement in there. And it feels like my hearing's improved. And we'll call that nature. That's the nature of life when it's being lived, where wholeness and health are actually your identity, because that's what God created, and anything that's less than that is what we have overlaid it. So, and I was at the table where I always feel like I miss out on quite a lot, and I did not miss out on much today. And I'm claiming this healing that he gave me as real, and I'm, just expressing gratitude within myself. And that seems like big ticket news. So there you go. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing, Noel. And Ned, would you like to share something?
I'm trying to wrap my mind out or up where I'm at. My ego is really doing a dance with me. I was in Arizona, back in Oklahoma, and I don't have much privacy where I'm at, and I expect to have my own place by now. And certain things are supposed to happen, right? But it never happens the way my ego thinks it's supposed to happen. So here I am. So I just say, like John said on Sunday service, punk it. I don't know where I'm at. I'm just in this present moment, enjoying everybody's shares. Just accepting. It's perfect. I know that. More lessons. I am inspired. I've had a lot of rest. A lot of rest. I'm inspired to work on projects, but the situation I'm in is not I don't want to say allowing me, is not ideal situation to do some of the work that I'm inspired to do. But that's okay. I realize it's part of the plan. So I just say punk it. I don't know, and that's okay. I'm asking God what question to ask or what it is that He's really, really pointing at this point and letting it go. But I'm always inspired. I'm so grateful for the Earthquakers in these meetings. I always get inspiration every time, every masterclass I take. I get such inspiration, and very grateful. I stay in gratitude. Um, go for nature walks with my puppies. That's my playfulness. Just to watch them, watch each other, watch what they're watching nature. I watch them watch that, and I kind of go through that, and that gives me peace. That gives me relief. It is okay. It is okay. Just to punk it. I don't know. Creator has his plans and he doesn't let you know in the moment. He gives you little smidges of it, but she's putting it all together somehow. And I know my inspirations will come together, and it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful, and it's supposed to be where I'm at. It's perfect. Thank you, Dennis.
So may I ask you a question?
Sure.
What are you saying funk it to? Like what is underneath this emotion that you're saying funk it to?
That I have to have everything planned out the way my ego thinks it should be right now, to let it flow. Quit that pattern, quit that pattern thinking you have to be in control of everything, and just let it flow, let it go, just punk it, just see how it is right now in this moment. What is God pointing to, because I don't know. I don't know all the answers. you know,
Is there a way, and actually this is something that I want to share. So everyone that's in this class, I'm gonna start a Facebook Messenger group for the Return to Nature Masterclass and the people that attend. And so this is going to be a way that we can all support each other in things that we may be going through on a daily basis or a moment by moment basis. To just reach out, and if someone needs a breakthrough or just someone to like to speak to or to give an ear, if I feel like most of us here may, like, who here has social media, Facebook? And I see that Dave doesn't have his camera on. Dave, are you on Facebook?
Well, I have a Facebook profile, but I've kind of scrubbed it, and I really don't participate a lot. But I could go back into it if I had to.
Okay. How about Signal? Does everyone here have Signal? If you do, give me a thumbs up. So I'm gonna we'll start a Signal group, Return to the Nature Signal group. And that way we can reach out and just stay in connection with each other. And I feel like, would that assist you, Annette, in whatever you're going through, in ways to reach out and support?
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for that offering.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then also there's going to be ways that there will be communications on the homework, and we can check in with that. So in regards to homework, is there anything that's inspired in the moment that you feel would be great for us to to go deeper into our connection with nature this next week?
I got something.
Yes, thank you.
Well, a good exercise would be to just take a walk in nature, maybe do a little hike. You guys talk about going down to the river, but to go there silently, just kind of do the journey without speaking, or even with people, but don't speak, and just kind of observe, listen to the sounds of nature. I mean, you guys have so many birds down there, but even up here, there's birds in the wintertime. So just listen and for messages, listen to what in that moment the present can deliver in that quiet walk in your little loop. So just to kind of report back, observe and report your walk in nature, what you saw, what you heard, what you felt.
Thank you. And how does that feel for the rest of us? Do we want to do that? Yes, go ahead, Peter. The mic is not on.
Yeah, I really like that, Dave. Thank you very much. This is such a great idea because it's in those moments of silence where things really can get revealed. And then when they get revealed, it's great to actually be conscious of them, take them into a class like this, and see what happens. So, wow, very good. I love it.
Thank you. So that'll be in the signal group, observing the present of the present while taking a walk. And seeing what God has to show us and keeping an open heart and an open mind. So we have another 3 minutes. Is there any last inspiration that anyone would love to share? So before this call, I took some screenshots of some Bible verses that were related to nature that I'm just gonna speak one, and then we can take this into the next week as well. And this is from Job 12, verses 7 through 10. And he goes, "But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind." I feel like that's very relevant to the homework. And actually, I'm going to post that along with the homework as we go into this week. And we can carry that on and come back next week. I love you all. I appreciate you. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for being you and being the lighthouse and letting your little inner child out to play, remembering who we are, and just spreading peace, love, and joy everywhere we go. I love you all. Bye.